going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Pick and Pop podcast. My name is Bryan, and I'm alongside
Aldrin.
And today's episode is called Playoff Intensity. How was your week?
Week was pretty good, man. I told you off air. I went to a farm and got some meat and cooked last night and chilled. Just been relaxing. I got some stuff to do before work for Monday, and I'm taking like light classes and stuff like that. So, yeah, man. How about you? How was your weekend?
It was good. Just got to chill with a friend yesterday. Watched the playoff basketball, and then I'm gonna be embarking on a new career journey. Gonna be doing some part-time like teaching pretty soon. So
yeah, man, I'm excited for that. I know I was talking to you earlier about schooling and just furthering my education. It's never too late to do that, and I think that's what a lot of people get discouraged on is the thought of school.
Yeah. It'll be a different perspective for me because like I went to school and got the degrees. Now I'll be teaching, so I get to get it from the other perspective. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, man, that's a huge jump for you, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people don't know. Even like the podcast, us starting this podcast was like a jump. It was always in the works, and then we just finally pulled the trigger. So I'm proud of you, man, and I'm happy.
Appreciate it, bro. Likewise. But yeah, speaking of playoff basketball, we're gonna go through the games for day one of the playoffs. As well, I guess we could do a little light coverage of the play-in as well.
Yeah.
But then we're going to give our predictions for the playoffs day two today because we're recording the podcast before the 3:00 game with Memphis and the Lakers. So day one, I guess we can kind of we'll do a deep dive into each game, but kind of just a first like overall high level overview of what you thought of day one of the playoffs.
So you want just in general?
Yeah.
I like it because it's different because you got the Knicks, the Cavs. We haven't seen the Cavs in the playoffs since Braun.
Yeah. Last year they were in a play-in that they missed.
Yeah. So it's different now. And then the Sacramento Kings was one of the games that I look forward for the most. That was my favorite game by far.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice, the playoff intensity, because I feel like with the NBA season is just so long, and obviously the intensity isn't really the same, just because teams are pacing themselves for this very moment when they get to the playoffs.
For sure.
So it's nice to see, like I said, different. Because these past few years we're used to always seeing like the KDs, the LeBrons, and the Currys. So it was nice to just kind of get a different look for the playoffs, seeing teams like the Cavs and the Kings in there. And things like that. Obviously before the playoffs began, you had the play-in tournament. So you had Miami and Atlanta move on the Eastern Conference, and on the Western Conference, you had it was the Timberwolves and the Lakers that moved on to the playoffs. So what'd you think of like the play-in games?
I thought the play-in games were interesting. That the Timberwolves had a really big win on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma has a bright future. Let's put that out there. And I did enjoy the Miami game. I'm happy that they're going in because Coach Spoelstra is a really great coach. I don't see the hype on Jimmy Butler anymore. I'm kind of leaning towards. I think he's a third guy. Is he even a second guy? I think he's a third on a championship team. I think he's a third.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten older, he's not what he used. I never really looked at him as a number one option on a championship team. In the past, I looked at him as a number two. He's always good for a solid 20 a game, two-way player, but not really that guy who can bring you to the promised land. He's not the guy you build around. He's the guy that complements the guy that you build around, I think, personally. And then, so I always felt like that Miami team with him being like the number one guy always had a cap ceiling of just being like a really solid playoff team. Like they went to the finals during the bubble, but that was just, unique circumstances. So, I mean, the fact that they were playing for the 7th seed and lost to Atlanta tells you all you need to know because Atlanta's not good. We're going to talk about the Celtics game yesterday, but Atlanta is not a good team, and they kind of really, manhandled the Heat. And that Miami team, obviously you got Bam Adebayo, I think is a really solid player, not a number one, and Tyler Herro's a role player off the bench. But yeah, like what you're saying, Jimmy Butler, he's really like a third option right now. He's getting up there in age, and he's had a great career, and no knock to him. Like I know he had a humbling background, and he kind of developed slow on the top Thibodeau and in Chicago, and then became like a all-star level player. But yeah, he's not a number one option on the team for sure.
He's not.
But yeah, we spoke about Atlanta beating Miami and taking that 7th spot and going in against the Celtics, and then Miami redeemed themselves against Chicago and then made it in the playoffs. And then out west, you had the Lakers, who I actually thought they were going to lose that game to the Timberwolves, and they actually came back and went in overtime and they won and made it to the 7th seed. And Timberwolves redeemed themselves and beat Oklahoma to make it in the 8th seed. So. But as far as the playoffs, yesterday was great. We'll talk about game one. The first game of yesterday was the Nets and the Sixers. What do you think of that game?
The Nets and the Sixers. That's gonna be a good game.
Yeah. Oh, not me. Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday's game. I misunderstood you. It was good. I thought Embiid was dominant. Even though I thought that was a slow night for him with 26 points, 5 rebounds. I mean, that's kind of low for him, but he did good.
Yeah, I mean the Brooklyn Nets, you can tell their whole game plan was to take Embiid out of the game and not let him. They want the other guys to beat them. They don't want Embiid to beat them. So they doubled Embiid a lot, for the majority of the game. Guys like Tyler, I'm about to say Tyler Hero. Why am I forgetting his name? Tobias Harris stepped up big. James Harden had a big game as well. Those guys really stepped up and played really well. Brooklyn, they played hard too. A dude that I was really impressed by was definitely, why am I forgetting his name? Mikal Bridges. He really impressed me because I just thought of him as like a role player. Just a 3-and-D type of guy, and then and he sacrificed his game a lot for the Phoenix Suns in order to fit in because like the things that I'm seeing him doing, just taking it off the dribble. I mean, he dropped 30 yesterday. He pretty much did most of his damage in the first half. In the second half, he didn't really get to play. I mean, he didn't really do a lot on the offensive end. But definitely offensively in the first half, he definitely held Brooklyn down for sure. And when I think of that series, it's just been really interesting to think about it because I feel like Miami, the Brooklyn Nets, they play hard, they have a solid team, but ultimately they're just not going to be able to contend with the Sixers.
No, the Sixers are too good, man.
Yeah, no, they don't have a star player. They're just a team full of role players.
Harden looked good yesterday.
Harden did, yeah. He looked
23 and 13.
Yeah, Harden is arguably one of the top point guards in the league. Honestly, great at running your offense, getting everyone involved, dishing out, getting assists. Maxey didn't really play too well, but Harden and Tobias Harris, like I was saying, they really stepped up. And like I was saying with Mikal Bridges, he did his thing, 30 points per game, and 30 points in the game. And I think he could be more than just a 3-and-D guy for sure for them.
Yeah, Mikal. I think Mikal could be an all-star. I'm not gonna say star, but people are saying that you never know. Because they compared him in a sense to like a Kawhi. Remember, Kawhi kind of had a slow start and then he kind of just became the man. I don't know if Mikal Bridges could be that guy. Mikal Bridges was always supposed to just be a G League guy. Yeah. And he kind of rose through the ranks and his defense kind of put him on the map. And then he started developing little aspects of his game, as you saw yesterday in the game. I thought he was pretty good. He could score. He could shoot big shots. He's not just a 3-and-D guy, like you said. I think he has more to his game.
Yeah, for sure. And then shout out to Jacques Vaughn too. I mean, because he had a hard year. You come in with like Ben Simmons and Kyrie and KD, and then now you're just like with a team full of role players. You went from expecting to compete for a championship to them possibly looking forward to the draft, but they ended up playing hard and getting to the playoffs. I think Philly will sweep them ultimately. But it was a pretty good game, good start to the playoffs. I don't expect much from the Nets. I think we'll talk about the Celtics game next, but these two teams, like I wish the Celtics and Sixers were playing right now instead of
Yeah, I know. It's like we got to get what we get.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think the Nets and the Hawks are going to be pretty much swept up. Unfortunately for them, like thanks for coming.
The East playoffs are weird.
Yeah, I think my favorite series, I mean, at least so far, starting from yesterday, starting from Saturday, was the Knicks series, which we'll talk about a little later, and then obviously the Warriors Kings series, which we're going to talk about also. But yeah, any other thoughts for the Nets and Sixers?
Yeah, like you said, it's probably going to be a sweep. It's unfortunate they don't have a star, and it's wild that Ben Simmons is nothing anymore.
Yeah,
I think he could have really helped them out because let's say he was getting his 20 a game and 10 rebounds, and then you have Cam Thomas, who's a lights out scorer. He disappears too at times.
Yeah, it's funny because like when you think about it, the way he was playing, at least in the Sixers days, like he was a lockdown defender, could at least get you 14 a game. Like they could have used his defense like on Embiid at least, something they wouldn't have to maybe double team Embiid, and letting other guys go off.
The plan for Ben Simmons was they were going to make him a 5, and just have him play 5, and I thought that would have been great, but it just didn't work out that way, and he fizzled out. I don't know if he'll still be in the league. To me he fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean he's getting paid too. He has like an untradeable contract. There's no way any team's taking that contract, and like it's just a mental. I've never seen anything like this in the NBA where a guy goes from like budding superstar to like just not even really playable these days, to be honest with you. Because like we've seen busts like, but that's usually like up front. You see they're a bust. I've never seen a guy who has like multi all star. Then just out of nowhere, he just has like a bad series and he's just never the same again. That's just insane to me. And he signed a 5-year, $177 million contract with Philly, and making 35 mil a year. Trying to figure out how many years he has left on the contract, but that's definitely his. Oh yeah, he still has like 3 more years on his contract. He's getting paid 35 million this year. He's gonna get 37 next year, and then 40 million the other year. By the time he's 28, he'll be out of the league.
He's going to be a rich man.
Yeah, exactly. I hope he's investing his money well, because he's not getting another contract like that for sure.
No, it's over.
Yeah, because they could have definitely used his help in this series, like I said, at least for his defense. Like I'm like, he can't even at least be like a rim running big or something, like catch some lobs and like defend the paint or something. Like he's a playmaker. Like he can at least be like a Draymond Green type or something. I don't know, man.
He's pretty useless at this point, and it sucks that I'm saying that because me, Ben Simmons was one of my faves coming out of that draft.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was gonna be the next LeBron.
I even said he was like my second or third favorite player. There was a year where he was getting like really good burn and he was just dominating.
Yeah, man. Like, he had games where like, Embiid didn't play and he dropped like 40 and things like that. So he had a really promising career. I really don't know what happened to him, but he's not playing this series, and they're gonna suffer a lot. But I mean, Mikal Bridges is better than him, to be honest with you. Like way better than him. And like,
Yeah,
who would have ever thought like a few years ago we'd be saying that?
yeah. Mikal, like I said, Mikal was supposed to be a G League guy.
Yeah, it's
He
like
was on the Sixers. Fun fact: he got drafted by them.
yeah, I think he did originally, yeah, and they trade him to the Suns. And he didn't obviously get the opportunities that he's getting now in the Brooklyn Nets, and he's getting the opportunity to show what he can really do. Yeah, you never know. He could have. Yeah, I don't think he'll necessarily be like Kawhi level, but like you never know. He's also he's not that young. I think I want to say he's like 25, 26 now. So he's getting pretty close to his prime, but you never know. You
Could
never
he
know.
be that guy that develops late in his career where he's like, all right, he's been a star for a couple years, maybe like a Steve Nash?
That could happen. That could definitely happen. Yeah, I
That'd
mean,
be a great story for them.
yeah, that'd be huge for Brooklyn because especially after losing KD and and Kyrie and James Harden, they could definitely use that for sure. No, I like I'm gonna be following Mikal Bridges, going into next year as well. I wanted the Knicks to trade for him. Honestly, I would have traded him RJ for him. To be honest with you, I mean now that that's not gonna happen, but I would have
No,
definitely have done it. For
people know
sure.
what RJ is.
Yeah, unfortunately, man, because he would have been perfect for the Knicks. We'll get into that series, but yeah, definitely game one. Obviously, the Sixers up 1-0. Maybe if the Nets are lucky, they'll pull a game out, but I think it's going to be a sweep.
Yeah.
For sure. So, but that was also that was a good game. Philly ended up winning 121 to 101. They're just overall just a better team. Just at the end of the day, call a spade a spade. To be fair, it wasn't like the Brooklyn Nets didn't get like washed. I know they lost by 20, but it wasn't really like they got washed or anything. The game was pretty close throughout. But they pulled away towards the fourth. But overall, good team effort by the Sixers. Tobias Harris, I was shocked by. I didn't see because I don't really think much of Tobias Harris anymore. To be honest with you, I mean he's getting 14 a game. He's been a disappointment as far as like what people thought he would be, but he played solid yesterday, and they looks like they're going to be doubling Joel Embiid. So we'll see if those guys continue to step up. Tyrese Maxey obviously had a bad game. I don't expect him to have another. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how. Yeah, not a bad game, but just not really aggressive. He only took 8 shots, so I imagine he'll be more aggressive. But as long as those other guys are step up while they're doubling Joel Embiid, like this will be a quick series.
Yeah. I say it's a sweep.
Yeah.
When we get to that segment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and the next game that happened yesterday was the Celtics. They beat the Hawks 112 to 99. Trae Young had a horrible game. Like, what'd you think of that game yesterday?
I feel like they're wasting Sadiq Bey's potential, and I don't know that Hawks team. I don't know, man. They need some retooling. If they're gonna trade, Trae Young, just do it. Obviously, get good compensation for it, and then maybe move DeJounte to the point. If you don't get another point guard, and then kind of build off from there.
Yeah, it's funny because this is actually like I remember, was it last season or the season before where Trae Young played like trash against Miami at one of the playoffs? I want to say it was last year, right? Yeah. And game one, he played like trash. He was 5 for 18. He got outplayed by DeJounte Murray, to be honest with you. He just finished the game with 16 points. Kind of like what we've been saying these past few years. He's not a number one option on a championship team, I don't think. Really good player. Great playmaker, can score the ball, but he shot 27% from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Just not a number one option on a championship team. Um, yeah, I definitely agree with you. They need some retooling or something like because they gave up, I want to say 3, 4 draft picks for DeJounte Murray, and like, what did it really do for them? Make them a playing team? Um, and then you got,
You could salvage that team. You got to keep DeJounte Murray, Sadiq Bey, trade Trae Young for a couple good pieces or promising pieces that will get you to the promised land. I don't know. Maybe talk to Orlando and see what you can get from them. Think about stacked teams that need to just get off somebody. Maybe put him on Denver and get
yeah,
Michael Porter Jr. or something. Pry one of those guys off of Denver because Denver's not going to get better. Um,
no,
I'm
Denver
trying to
does
think
need
what
a
other
something.
team. I'm trying to think what other team may need him.
I don't want him on the Knicks. We're good with
No, no, we're good. We're good with Brunson, and you can get that same production from DeJounte Murray on the Hawks, so you're not losing anything.
Nah, they need some sort of shakeup. Like Collins, if you can get rid of Collins, I would. I mean, I've never been high on Collins personally. I don't really think he's much more than like a 3 and D slash rim running big. Hunter, I've never been a fan of. Disappointing player. Capella, you know what you're gonna get with him. You know, rim protection, rim running big.
I don't even think he's giving you 15 anymore.
Nah, I mean, yeah, 12 yesterday. Their bench isn't really that great. I mean, but I feel like Sadiq Bey should kind of. I would start Sadiq Bey over Hunter, to be honest with you. Um, that's just me. Okongwu isn't really nothing special to me.
Nah, he had high hopes.
You know what I mean. So they need a lot of retooling. They need a whole overhaul, and then they actually got permission from the owner to kind of just rebuild the roster. So, and they said anyone can be traded, including Trae Young. So Trae Young spoke about it, and he just said if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, I fully expect them to be swept in the in the playoffs against the Celtics. And this summer, there's going to be a lot of movement. Like I think Trae Young's going to be on a different team. DeJounte Murray, like they might just rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't do nothing against the Celtics. Like Brown and Tatum, they did their thing. Brown at 29, Tatum at 25. White balled out too for the Celtics. He had 24. So
Jesus.
they were just doing whatever they want. The Hawks tried to make it a game within the fourth quarter, but it wasn't really. They cut it to I believe like around 12 or so, but then the Celtics just like brought the lead back up. So they just look like they're severely overmatched. The Hawks, going up against the Celtics. So it's unfortunate for them. It's going to be a quick series. I expect Brown and Tatum to, continue to do their thing and just put up 20, 30 plus every game this series. They're
Yeah,
just overall a bad matchup too.
that's what's gonna happen. It's just bad matchups. Yeah, Trae Young's gonna get shut down.
Yeah, because that team has a lot of length and size too. So like, yeah, it's gonna be a long series for Trae Young, like a long series.
Mm.
I mean, any other major highlights or aspects you want to talk about in that game?
No, that game was boring.
Yeah, it really was. My favorite, it's funny, the last two games of yesterday were my two favorites. Honestly, the Knicks and Cavs and then the Kings and Warriors. So talking about the
Yeah,
Knicks game, Julius Randle came back.
yeah,
He really looked good in that first half. Jalen Brunson was in some foul trouble. So kind of Julius kept the team afloat. He didn't really have like an overall like efficient game per se, but like he was obviously coming back from injury, and like I said, he kept them afloat in the first half. It wasn't for them. Like they might not have won that series with Jalen Brunson being in foul trouble and RJ Barrett being like played solid defense, but offensively he was trash. Um, the kids, Grimes, didn't really do much. 1 for 4. Quickly was 0 for 5. Yeah, made as much field goals as you and I made yesterday. Toppin had some good minutes. He had played 14 minutes, scored 9 points, got some quick buckets, and Josh Hart and Hartenstein played really well, especially Josh Hart. That was a really great and underestimated pickup for the Knicks.
I didn't like RJ's play. I thought he should have played better.
Yeah, I mean, RJ was shot 16% from the field, 2 of 12 overall, 1 of 5 from the 3-point land.
Yeah.
I think this is a big series for him as far as his Knicks future. I think if he continues to stink up the joint for the playoffs, I could easily see him being moved in the offseason. Like, I don't know what you think about RJ.
I think the same thing. A lot of people are saying the same thing. If he kind of doesn't get it together, I think it's over.
Yeah.
I think it's over, and then we just that experiment with RJ needs to come to a halt. It just needs to change at this point because we have guys, and then Quentin Grimes, he's not a starter. Let's get that. Maybe they got to give Quickly more burn. Maybe they got to put him at that shooting guard spot. I know there's going to be a small backcourt, but maybe that's what they got to do.
Yeah, I think Grimes is a solid 3-and-D guy. Like, he's very overrated by, us. Our Knicks nation, like people saying they wouldn't trade him for even a superstar, and I'm like, you guys are on drugs. Like, he's a solid 3-and-D guy. Like, he can do a little more than just 3-and-D. Like, he can put it on the floor and get to the rack and stuff, but he doesn't really do anything offensively elite. Defensively, he's like I say, he's a good defender, great ball denial. But he's not like, you know, like a star player or anything. Like, I'd much rather have like a player like Mikal Bridges than Grimes, to be honest. But obviously, I think for the kids, a lot of them it was their first playoff game. Well, a few of them play first playoff game, like Grimes, that quickly hadn't been in the playoffs for last time was like 2 years ago. But they got eliminated in the first round. Obviously, RJ only played in that one series as well. But Julius, I was surprised by him just because he had a better performance yesterday than he did in the playoffs a few years ago.
Yeah.
He shot, like I said, wasn't overly efficient, 7 of 20 from the field, 3 of 10 from three, but like I said, he was big in the first half and had 19 points, 10 boards, so had double. Hit some big shots. Mitchell Robinson keeps saying that he wants to get some more touches offensively, but yeah, I see why he doesn't. He's 3 of 5 from the field. Brunson was huge in the second half, put the team on his back. And we'll get to the Cavs as well. I mean, Donovan Mitchell. I mean, obviously, people know we're Knicks fans. He's scaring me, especially in the fourth quarter when they ended up taking the lead. I was like, damn, he dropped 38 points, played 43 minutes. What do you think? We were talking about the Knicks. What do you think of the Cavs performance yesterday?
I thought they were pretty good. I think they lost because we just wanted it more.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to get tougher from here on out. Donovan's coming. I think Mobley's going to have a big game soon. I feel it. I feel it, and I think it's going to be on us because I don't know. Mitchell thinks he's better than what he is, but I don't see Mitchell making an impact, and I don't see RJ making an impact. I have no faith in RJ Barrett, like at all. And it
Mitchell
stinks
Robinson?
both Mitchell and RJ.
Okay, yeah, Mitchell Robinson, not Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I have faith in Donovan Mitchell. I don't have faith in RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. And in order for the Knicks, I think, to win this playoff series, I think those guys have to be big, RJ and Mitchell Robinson. And back to the Cavs, like I said, I think Mobley's going to have a big game soon. One of these games, he's going to have a big game. And what are we going to do about that? How are we going to deliver? That's what I want to know. It was fun that playoff basketball is back, and the Knicks first round is one of the most interesting first rounds we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's the East game, and I think the East is boring.
Really? I actually think I guess we're gonna watch the Western Conference today, but I'm actually more of a fan of the series out east. Well, there's really two series that I really care about now. It's the Knicks, Cavs, and the Kings and Warriors. To be honest with you, the other series don't really entice me like that. But I don't know. But back to what you're saying about like the Cavs and Mobley. I think Mitchell. We've been killing them. We killed them on the boards yesterday. I think Mitchell Robinson is a good defender, so we're gonna need him if Mobley were to go off. And Mobley was trash yesterday. He was 4 13. But
Yeah,
if Mobley
he
does
was
go off,
struggling. He was struggling.
yeah, and this is also Mobley's first time in the playoffs too. So
He
I'm
gets a
not a
pass.
hundred. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure he's gonna really have a breakout this series, but he might. And if he does, then that's on Mitchell Robinson to really lock him down, defensively. Because obviously Julius Randle's he's saving his energy on the offensive end. Let's be real. For the offensive end, let's be real. I don't expect him to lock up Mobley, so it's really going to be on Mitchell Robinson to do that. But so far, like I said, yesterday they did a pretty good job containing him. A low scoring game too, defensively. Both teams it was like 101-97, so both teams played defense. I'm more worried about Donovan Mitchell. I think the Knicks will win this series in 6 games. I think we can beat the Cavs. They don't. The Cavs, to me, their bench is just trash.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, their bench is trash. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Garland had to play 43 minutes apiece. Jared Allen had to play 42 minutes. Mobley had to play 37 minutes. So, like, for them to even and all that said, they still lost. You know what I mean?
mhm.
They still lost with their starters basically playing the entire game. Isaac Okoro is 1 for 6. You don't really get much from him offensively. He's more of a defender. They're obviously going to make some adjustments because I don't. They need to slow down Jalen Brunson for them to have a chance. Donovan Mitchell, I don't know what we're going to do about him because he's going to
We
get.
may not be able to do anything and still beat them.
Yeah, I mean yeah, because yesterday, I mean they lost that, and we're also crushing them on the board. So I'm not sure if they can really. They have to rebound better in order for them to have a chance against the Knicks. I mean, Jared Allen and Mobley did their thing on the boards, but everyone else was suspect. I mean, a Curl had 3, Mitchell had 5, Garland had none, and
Okoro's a
Garland.
Okoro's a bust.
Yeah, he's a boss. I mean, Garland only had 1 assist yesterday too, so kind of makes you wonder: does that backcourt is it going to work out in the long term?
I just think Garland had a bad game. I think Brunson just ate him.
Yeah, he ate him up in that
Yeah,
second half.
because Garland obviously is a good playmaker, and they do in the regular season. He's never gonna make passes like that where he gets 1 assist.
Yeah, no, he is a
That's
true
not
point
happening
guard.
again, huh?
Yeah, he's a true point guard for sure.
Yeah, that's not happening again. He just had a bad game. I'm not worried about. You're gonna get what you're gonna get from him, but he's not gonna be like he's not gonna wow you.
No, no,
He's just a service. So that's the guy we should have drafted over RJ, but that's another topic for discussion.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess I'd rather have Brunson, but I'd also rather have Garland over
Yeah,
RJ. I wouldn't mind. I'd take a Brunson and Garland backcourt any day over it, or RJ, and
seriously.
so I'll take that.
It doesn't really make sense, but it makes more sense than what we have now with RJ. RJ's just not. I don't know. I don't trust him. That's why I still pick the Cavs in 7.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, these teams are. I think they're closely matched. Like even though that game came down to the wire, we had to hit some big shots and get some
Yeah.
big boards in order to beat them. And I like that the Knicks won the first game because it takes the pressure off of them. Like they don't like game 2 isn't a must win. I hope they don't just come in and just like get washed and just be satisfied that they got the 1 win. I hope they go for the 2-0. But I think this is going to be a long series. Like I think 6 games.
Yeah.
I got Knicks in 6. I'm hoping that the Knicks
I
win.
got I got Cavs in 7. I think it's going to be a long series.
It definitely could. I definitely say Thibodeau has improved a lot coaching wise this year especially, but last year I liked this yesterday's game. I liked the rotation that he had out there. I think he's a better coach than Bickerstaff on the Cavs, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we have a coaching advantage. We got a advantage on the boards. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell is definitely the best player in the series, that's for sure. But I think what gives the Knicks the advantage and why I think they'll ultimately win is because they're just a deeper team than the Cavs.
Yeah.
They're a much deeper team. Like I said, Cavs just have nobody on the bench. I mean, their bench played like 6 7 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be that. That's ultimately what I think will put the Knicks over the top in the
Yeah.
series. Yeah. Anything else you had thoughts on the
That's
game?
all. That's all I got. Like I said, it's going to be a long series. I think that's going to be one of the long series.
All right, and then the final game yesterday was the Kings and the Warriors, and I was shocked by that because I still think Golden State will win, but I actually thought the Kings would kind of get swept. I thought it would just be like, all right, it's a nice story they made it to the playoffs. Mike Brown, Coach of the Year, but I didn't really expect much. And watching the game, the Warriors were up for a majority of the game. Just watching that game yesterday, I kind of forgot how fun the Warriors are to watch on offense. They just cover so much ground. Like Curry's constantly moving around. Great team ball, great passing. And they still even had a chance to tie at the end of the game, but the Kings kind of shocked me. And then they kept their poise. They showed that they have heart, and they pulled out that victory. So, what did you think of the game?
That was my favorite game. And then second was the Knicks one. I like that squad. That squad is really good, and I think they could make noise because of Mike Brown. Not to say the talent ain't good, but Mike Brown is the huge difference maker in that Kings organization. Um, I think Draymond locked down Sabonis a little bit, but Sabonis was still managed to grab 16 boards and get 12 points on him, so he still scored a double double. Malik Monk and Fox have been sensational. I think Monk coming off the bench was one of the best things to happen. He's a bench player. He's always been a bench player. I think you've said that previous pods that you
Yeah,
feel a 6 man guy.
yeah, that's what he is. He's like, what's his name?
J.R. Smith.
JR, Lou Williams, like
Yeah.
those type of players. That's what he is.
De'Aaron Fox had a great game. They don't have a superstar, but they do have two good all stars. And we don't talk about Sabonis or De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis is a top center too. After Embiid and Joker and Cat, you got to put Sabonis up there,
Sabonis is really underrated.
leading the league in rebounds right now.
Leading the league in rebounds, stretch big, can post up. Pretty good passer as well. I feel like he's kind of maybe like the same level as like a Julius Randle. You can make the argument they're like top 15 players in the league.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure, for sure, for sure.
he was an all star this year, so like he played pretty. He's had a really good year. He didn't do a lot offensively. Like he only had 12 points yesterday, but I expect him to have a bigger game. He had a rough night, 5 of 17, but I think he'll bounce back on the next game. It was
Yeah,
nice to see playoff basketball in Sacramento. They haven't made it to the playoffs since '06,
yeah,
so that was nice to see. De'Aaron Fox surprised me because I've been disappointed by him as far as his career. I thought he'd be like a superstar level player. And while he's not that, but I think he's like, like all-star level talent.
hmm
He dropped 38 yesterday. They had no answers for him. He almost shot 48% from the field, 4 of 8 from three. But he's never really been known as a shooter.
yeah. He's definitely improved and all that. So we can't say he's not a shooter anymore. He's definitely improved. Um, he's improved a lot in his game. If you look at his numbers from last year and this year.
Yeah, Lyles also had a really solid, like basically 18 minutes. He scored 16 in that point. Hit some big shots for them. They really needed every basket that he made. Like you're saying, Monk had a great game off the bench. He dropped 32 off the bench.
Yeah.
Just insane. Kind of that helped them a lot with Sabonis struggling and Keegan Murray, struggling, only really playing 15 minutes that game. So that was big for them. But you talk about the Warriors on their side. Curry balled out. He was a plus 11 on the court. He had 30, he had 6 boards. Not really much assists, 2 assists, but they were night and day when Curry was on the court and wasn't on the court.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson was minus 14. He had over 21 points. But pretty much everyone in that starting lineup was either negative or zero. Well, DiVincenzo was a +2. He played 19 minutes and 10 points, but they were just a completely different team when Curry wasn't there.
Yeah.
Wiggins had 17 off the bench, coming back, and I know he missed
slowly getting himself back.
Yeah, I still think the Warriors will end up winning the series just based off of their playoff experience, championship pedigree. But they're gonna have to figure things out because if they can't play without Curry, they're not playing well without Curry, and whenever he sits on the bench, then he's gonna be playing at heavy. I mean, he's definitely going to play heavy minutes this series.
Do you know how disappointing that would be if the Warriors lost the first round to the Kings?
That would be very.
I think people would get traded.
Regardless, even if they beat the Kings, they need to switch things up because this is a disappointing year. I mean, they're horrible. They're dominant at home. I think they had the second and third best. They had the third best home record. But they are trash on the road.
And it's like really bad, and it's like noticeable. It's like really bad. It's not even like they're bad at home. They're bad on the road. They're really bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're really bad on the road. Their road record's horrible, and then like the fact that Sabonis had a bad game and they still lost. I mean, obviously they Malik Monk made up for it, and Lyles had a big game too. Obviously Fox balled out, but I wouldn't expect that, and they were especially since they were up for most of the game too, the Warriors. So I just thought they'd pull it out.
I don't think Sabonis is going to have too many bad games.
Yeah, I mean Draymond is going to be key for that. Kind of just containing him. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean that was definitely surprising to see them. And the Warriors were in it. They didn't get blown out or anything like that. So I fully expect the Warriors will tie it, in game 2. It'll be 1-1.
I think it'll be 6 games Warriors.
Yeah, I could see 6-game series with the Warriors winning. I just think the Kings, are they going to get 32 off the bench from Malik Monk again? It was a lot went right yesterday, and they were at home also. So a lot went right. And so they don't really have the experience of being on the road and, being down big on the road and things like that. And just the lack of experience, I think the Warriors will pull it out for sure.
Yeah.
But that was a good game. Any other thoughts on that?
No, that's all I got. Looking forward to today's games. Obviously, we'll have more in store for the pod. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, these playoffs. Like I said, we're recording before the 3:00 game with the Lakers. We're like an hour away, but we'll make our predictions, and next week's episode we'll see how we did. So first game, 3:00, you got Lakers, Memphis. Who do you have winning that game, and why?
I think Memphis will win the first game.
Memphis, yeah. I mean, they're a good defensive team. Lakers, I don't trust. I mean, they barely squeaked in the playoffs with the play-in tournament, and even the Wolves. I wasn't even confident that they'd win that game. The AD, who knows what we're gonna get from him? Some like we said, some days he looks like
Elijah
Jordan, and some days he looks like Elijah. Yeah, so you never know what you're gonna get from him. I know what we're gonna get.
If Jaren outplays him, we got to start talking about Jaren Jackson this summer.
Yeah, man, Jaren Jackson he had a great season. Yeah, he's that dude. So we'll see. I got Memphis winning that as well.
Yeah.
They're just overall just a better team, good defensively. Ja Morant, this is going to be big for him, especially after the last few months he's been having. So, and obviously the history of what happened a few months ago with Shannon Sharp at the Lakers and Memphis game, and so it's gonna be a big game today. I got Memphis winning that. Milwaukee next game, Milwaukee and Miami. What are your thoughts on that?
Milwaukee and Miami. I got Milwaukee. I got Milwaukee blowing them out.
Blowing them out. Wow.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't trust Miami at all.
Miami, they're not a very good team to be honest with you. I got a lot of respect for Coach Spo. I think he's a great coach. Are they going to be able to build that wall and contain Giannis? That's going to be key for them. I can't say blowout just because I don't Coach Spo is a really good coach. I think he's a better coach than Coach Bud. I definitely got Milwaukee winning it for sure. But I think it's going to be closer than we think. But I got Milwaukee winning this, and I can see them winning the series in like 5, 6 games. To be honest with you, to be honest. What if you Memphis, the Lakers? What's your prediction for the series? Like,
For Memphis will. I think Memphis will sweep. No, Memphis and Lakers.
yeah,
I think it's gonna go to 7 games because yeah, I think it'll go 7. I don't think LeBron's gonna. I think LeBron's gonna give problems. I think not having Steven Adams and Brandon Clark is gonna be big for Memphis on
that's
a defensive end.
on the defensive end. That's kind of big. I think they'll Memphis will win 5. I just don't think the Lakers are a good team. To be honest with you, um, I know Steve Adams is likely to miss the postseason. But Jaren Jackson is also a great defender as well. So I think, yeah, I could see the Memphis winning in 5. I just don't trust in the Lakers. Um, yeah, no, I guess time will tell. We'll see. But yeah, I got Memphis winning in 5. And then third game is Clippers, Phoenix. Who you got that game?
100% Phoenix.
I think this is going to be maybe the most interesting series in the Western Conference first round. Obviously, the KD's back. They got Booker, they got Ayton, they got Chris Paul. I think they just overall have a better team. Although Phoenix hasn't played together much. Like obviously the core has, but not with KD. But KD also is the type that can fit in anywhere. So that being said, obviously the
I
Clippers.
think if Ayton doesn't have a good game or good series, he's gonna cause them to fail.
I don't expect him to be honest with you. I've never been really high on Aiton like that. I know you're a big Aiton guy. I've never been like high on him.
I'm not really. It's not like I'm an Ayton guy. He just has to have. He just has to have a big game too. He has to get
Yeah,
more than 3 rebounds.
I just don't see it. He's not really happy to be there. Even if he was happy, I just look at him as like especially with Katie being there. Also, like I don't. Katie's gonna get his shots. Book's gonna get his shots. So Aiden's like the third guy now. When he was the second option, he wasn't scoring that much. So I can't really see him scoring a lot or taking over offensively as the third option. So I mean, if he could have a big series defensively, maybe on the boards and defensively, but offensively, I just don't see it. Um, and then with PG, obviously dealing with, he's not going to be playing game 1 as well. He's still dealing with the right knee sprain. So yeah, I think the Suns got this game. And then as far as the series, I'm gonna go Suns in 6. That's what I think is gonna happen. Like I said, PG status is uncertain. KD and Book I expect to ball out. Clippers has just been a disappointment. So yeah, I got the Suns winning at 6 games.
I'm there too.
6 games. And then you have the final game of the night. It's going to be Denver and Minnesota. What do you think of that series, that game?
Sweep Denver.
Yeah, same. It's going to be sweep Denver. Denver's just a better team overall, I think. Obviously, Jokic, I think, is better than Cat. I know I like Cat, but I think Jokic is better than Cat. Denver just has the better team. I mean, they've been together for years now. They haven't really obviously accomplished much in the playoffs, but they're overall just a better team. Obviously, with the whole Rudy Gobert situation last week, with him getting into it on the bench and punching his teammate in the face, it's
unacceptable.
Yeah, they have some chemistry issues. They gave up a lot for him too, and it just hasn't panned out. So, it'll be interesting to see their off season and if Cat decides to stay or if he wants out. But I think this is going to be a sweep to Denver. Is going to beat the Timberwolves. So we'll see how we did on the picks for sure. But definitely excited for playoff basketball. We're going to have more episodes to come, obviously. We keep saying it, we're going to go back to making videos, and now with the playoffs, I think, definitely this week, going to try to put out a video on social media. So be on the lookout for that.
Videos are not easy.
Just we're doing a podcast, and we got obviously our personal lives that's kind of been slowing us down, but we're going to get back to that. But as always, check us out on social media at Pick and Pop Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Definitely, when you check out the podcast, either on streaming services or on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends, tell a friend about the podcast if you're a fan. And obviously, if you want to donate to the show, $Pick a Pop Show on Cash App. Until next time, guys, peace.
Peace.